Hello all, whoever you are, wherever you are. This is my shop. It's full of your typical tools, like the table saw, the miter saw, the joiner, the planer, a lathe, a tool wall, a pile of screws, a drawer full of screws, a tangle of cords, a pile of clamps, a pile of stuff, a broom for, brooming. And you can't forget about sawdust. It should be pretty obvious that this is just an average shop. I have a few nice tools, but overall, I don't think it could be classified as fancy or professional. Given enough time, I hope to transform this place into an organized shop with a somewhat logical workflow, and I want this video to serve as a kind of time capsule explaining where I am currently and my thought process that got me there. I didn't mention the wood storage earlier because, quite frankly, I haven't really given it much thought or effort. It just kind of works right now. You can see from the detailed schematics of my shop where it is in relation to everything else. The first tool is, of course, the table saw. Now, this is the Grizzly G0771Z, and while this tool is far from perfect, I gotta say, I really like this saw. I used to use this cheap Harbor Freight saw, and, well, that's a story for another video. As I said, I like the Grizzly considering where I started, but there are some issues with it that I'll cover in a separate video. In front of the table saw is my outfeed table. It's simply a solid core door with some square tubing legs bolted on. We continue around the shop. We come to the far left of my 18-foot workbench. The bench is made out of 2x4 that I joined and planed. The rear support is bolted. The front legs are mortise and tenoned into the front support running the length. There are two 8-foot lengths like that with a 2-foot gap here in the middle, which gives us a total of 18 feet. I can maybe cover the construction and details of that in another video. First tool up on the bench is the Grizzly T25926 with the 22-inch extension bed. I don't remember the number. I'll put it on the screen now. And to the right of that is the Shopfox mortising machine. It is the W1671. Next we have the Porter Cable sander. This isn't actually my sander, but I get to use it. You may notice that none of these are actually hooked up to power right now. That's something I've got to run on the back here. And coming up next is my air cleaner, toolbox, 6-inch grinder. As we follow the horseshoe around, we come to the miter station. This miter station is actually the second bench I ever built. Its casters make the bench quite mobile, and I can separate it from the saw with these draw latches. Someday I'll actually add a dedicated fence with a flip stop and a measuring tape on it, but that is not this day. And this is my 12-inch Bosch sliding miter saw, probably the worst purchase I ever made. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice saw, but it has some major drawbacks. If you're trying to build fine furniture, it's not the best. Out in the center, I clustered my Grizzly joiner and Porter Cable planer. I like the Grizzly joiner so far. It is the G0813, but my patience with the Porter Cable planer is beginning to wear thin. There's some major issues with this that are making it difficult to get consistent results every time I use it. I'm hoping to replace the Porter Cable planer in the coming year. Everything in this shop is currently in a state of change and improvement. The wall is no different. I didn't purpose build the wall for this shop, and I reused it from a tool wall from my first shop. Originally the door swung out and I could lock the cabinet, but the width couldn't quite accommodate some of my tools, and I decided it was better to fasten it permanently open. My goal with this setup is to only hang the most used tools on this wall so that I don't have to go looking around for them in a drawer. Moving on, I have 2 dust collectors, both Shopfox brand, both the 1826 wall hanging type. And that's it, a brief overview of my shop. Were you expecting more?